Let's see if the bloody Motorola is going to cooperate today. I must say, what's today? Day 5 of the 30-day video challenge. Keeping up. I've now posted my first 4 videos successfully. It took a long time because they're a little bit long. I must confess I'm feeling rather chipper today. It is absolutely a motherfucking beach day, my mates. No wind, warm sun, no umbrella needed because it's cool and breezy, but warm and buttery. And I go to this place. I take the time to drive about 30 minutes away. And I go to this place. There's very few people there, and it is opulent. That's the word I have for it. Sapphire, blue water, robin's egg blue sky, which you can see in the background here already. White sand, egrets, most adorable fucking little crabs you've ever seen running around everywhere. And it is my temple. I don't think I've ever gone there where I didn't touch the void. And then there's Mother Ocean there, you know. That's medicine. In case y'all, I'm sorry for y'all that are landlocked. But if you're not landlocked, you have a natural reservoir of metaphysical medicine there for you in the ocean. Every single molecule in that ocean is vibrating, radiating the indifferent love of the void. There's healing power in it. Highly recommend it. I should go more often, but anywho, that's what I'm doing today. Birds are serenading us. And last night, someone sent me a photograph of my daughter on a hike with a longtime family friend, and she was smiling. I'm so grateful for all these things I've just laid out. And, you know, she's been calling, saying she's dying, sure that she's dying, absolutely positive she's dying, saying no one will help her when she's already been to the emergency room about 500 times in the last year, absolutely positive that she's dying. I'm not going to over-exaggerate. I'll say in the last year she's been to the emergency room about 60 times. They put her on a 5150 hold 2 months ago because of how many times she's gone in there and how many times they've cleared her. And she doesn't believe anybody. She's okay. She is sick. She has Lyme disease. And her physical complaints are real. But it ain't nothing they can cure in the emergency room or the hospital. Anyway, regardless of that, she was smiling on a hike with a family friend, a very beloved family friend yesterday. And I'll rejoice for that. I will absolutely rejoice today, and I will take that. I will take that. And the sun is baking my skin right now, and as you can tell, I don't really give a fuck, which is why my neck and my face are all wrinkled, because I luxuriate. I luxuriate. And I'm blessed on Sundays when I have a day off. I will go to my temple. I will take my medicine in Mother Ocean. I will, when my foot sets down, when I walk down the stairs there and my foot sets down on the sand, I have a very strict rule. That is no negative thoughts and no complaints. Once my foot hits the sand, it's gratitude, it's medicine, and it's listening. Listening. See if the void has anything to say to me. See if my receptors are clean enough and open enough to get a message. Because I do want to get the fuck out of here. I really need to get back to my beautiful girl and also prepare for my entry to Mexican citizenship, as I have shared up until now. So today is day 5 of my 30-day video challenge. I am in the end, the last 6 months and few days of my 5th decade, about to hit 60 in December. And so I'm going to start chronicling this the last 6 months of my 5th decade. There's many things I'd love to talk about. I want to keep these videos around 20 minutes if I can. Today I'm going to talk about a woman named Susan, because I'm focusing on gratitude today. She is an extraordinary person. When my daughter first left my home to go to college in Connecticut, at the time we were living in a developing country. At the time it was the 6th poorest country on the planet. It was 2021 when she left. She had contracted Lyme disease in 2018. We tried allopathic, doxycycline and all that. Didn't work. Found some Lyme doctors in an adjacent country. Went to the Stephen Buhner protocol. Took about 7 months and it worked. She came back about 75-80% from being totally incontinent and debilitated and in pain, sleepless. She came back about 75%. But the issue with chronic post-treatment Lyme is you're going to have to treat it for the rest of your life. You can beat that bacteria down. It's close to impossible to eradicate. So she was on the mend, man. Looking good. She's a competitive athlete, so she was back competing in road races and winning. Functional, well, and she had taken a gap year because she was too sick to go back for college at that time. And unbeknownst to me, she stopped taking her meds. I was giving her Lyme meds every day, and she was throwing them over the garden wall. So, I think she was off the meds for about 2 months, and her entire GI tract from esophagus to anus shut off. She got gastroparesis. It was like, I didn't know why. I didn't know she was off the meds, so she could not eat anything solid. I took her out of country for colonoscopies, specialist consults. They didn't see anything in there. They couldn't figure anything out. We had to move to liquefied food. Everything had to be blended to a very thin consistency and drunk. She started losing weight. She was already a very lithe, competitive athlete, and she dropped, all in all, by the time it was done, she dropped about 50 pounds. So she ended up as looking like an emaciated genocide victim, Holocaust victim, an Auschwitz resident. She almost died. So about 3 months into this, she comes to me. It was actually I took her away on a vacation for her 18th birthday, and we were on this 4-day vacation with our dogs on her 18th birthday. Of course, at a beach. And she came to me and she said, Mom, she was crying. She said, I stopped taking my Lyme medication about 3.5 months ago because I felt better and I thought I was fine. And I was tired of taking 75 pills a day, which is what you have to take when you have Lyme. And I'm sorry. That's why I have gastroparesis. Bacteria had surged back and taken over and seized her GI tract. So we rushed back to the Lyme doctors out of country, told them what had happened, and they said, sorry, herbs aren't going to cut it this time. You need IV antibiotics for 30 days. So they made arrangements in our home country for that to happen through a hospital there. She got a PICC line, and I got all the meds, and we were doing IVs in the home and taking her into town for the PICC line to get replaced once a week. But she was supposed to do it for 30 days and then taper off slowly. She got 20 days in, woke up one morning and said, fuck this shit, I'm not doing it anymore. Demanded that the PICC line be taken out. I begged her. I said, she had a 3 IV cocktail. 3 different items she took twice a day. Once in the morning and once in the night. And so she said, fuck this shit. I begged her to taper down. She would not. She demanded that I take out the PICC line, which I did. At her demand. Knowing it was going to be a fucking disaster. And 48 hours later, she had a complete psychotic break. And when I say psychotic break, I mean she wouldn't put on any clothes. She was stark naked and running around the house from window to window. Because we're in a developing country, and people burn their trash there. And she would just run around from window to window all day long, naked, screaming, they're trying to kill me. Because of the smoke that she could smell. And when I say she ran around from window to window, she did it 24 hours a day, no sleep. Wouldn't eat. She would try to bust out of the house and escape. Just to go take a run around the neighborhood, which a white girl with flowing golden hair, stark naked, running, screaming through the street. And it wasn't a street, it was a dirt road. Again, we're in a developing country. The only people within many kilometers of our racial makeup. She did run out a couple times. I was there with our incredible, beautiful maid, Leonilde. And Leonilde and I would try to protect her. Leonilde only came around during the day, so at night I was awake all night doing this madness. And I was sleep deprived. And I think I was probably teetering on the edge of a mental break because of how, you don't know. If anybody's watching this that has had to experience this with a loved one, psychotic break, this one lasted for 5 months. And I became a shell with like just, I don't even know what was inside of me. Words cannot express what I became. It's not, exhaustion doesn't cover it. It was an out of body experience. It was a journey into the absolute pit of hell. She was taken to the hospital many times. She was put on a feeding tube many times because she wouldn't eat. She was wasting away. She came within so close to dying from malnutrition because she wouldn't eat. She was taken to the hospital many times for feeding tube. They tried treating her with antipsychotics. She had absolutely horrific allergic reactions to antipsychotics. She got tardive dyskinesia, which is like, if you ever see that, first time you see that, man, whew, that is scary shit, bro. She was terrified. Look it up. Okay, your whole face, your neck, your face, your skeletal, your mouth, everything freezes and contorts and twists up, and your tongue protrudes out like a steak. Just sits there, going in and out. You can't control it. Thank all, any and all alchemical powers of the universe that it went away when they stopped giving her antipsychotics, because a lot of people never come back from that. Kiss the ground for that one, man. So, somewhere in the middle of those 5 months, with these Lyme doctors in the other country, we got the herbal protocol back. I had neighbors around us, 2 or 3 different neighbors. God bless these people, man. They literally have like a second grade education, speak no English, and I would call them in 3 times a day to help me in rounds. It would take us 90 minutes to get her to take all the medication, the Lyme medication again. She was smearing her feces. I mean, my God, I can't tell you how challenging it was, man. We would get her in the car. It would take like 7 or 8 people to get her in the car to go to the hospital. And then when we were in the car, someone would sit on the left, someone would sit on the right. I was always on the left. Someone else would sit on the right. One of the other neighbors would drive, and then another neighbor would be in the passenger seat because we all had to, because she would be trying to elope out of the car. Totally psychotic. I mean, I'm telling you, she did not have one pinky toe in reality. We were all trying to kill her. And she would bite me, beat the hell out of my head, just punch. She's a big girl. She's a 6 foot tall, athletic girl. Whew, man, that's why I have PTSD. Well, one of the reasons. Things happened after that too. Anyway, with the help of this entire village of people, about 3 months into the psychosis, she slowly but surely started to return as the herbal intervention started to reduce the bacterial load, depress the bacterial load day by day. It takes a long time. She came out of psychosis about 5 months later with a, which she still has now. She does have psychotic episodes now, but she came out of it with a very severe OCD. So that is cliff notes to the max of the stuff that happened. And so this was all during a gap year. She had already been accepted to a university in Connecticut. And so slowly but surely, and she was medication resistant the whole time. So she came back, and she was like not well enough to go, but she desperately wanted to go. She was ready to leave the developing country. And she was an adult. She was 19 at this time, so, you know. As soon as she left the house, she stopped taking all medication again. She got to New York, and then she got to Connecticut. She got to Connecticut in like mid-June, and her dorm at the college wasn't going to be ready until August. So she was staying in Massachusetts, and she wanted to make some money. So she's unemployable because she can't, there's like no executive functioning to plan or wake up to an alarm and stuff like that. So I started this little business for her on Facebook in that neighborhood of Massachusetts. And it was like errands, you know, pulling weeds, moving assistance, and whatnot. And she was doing okay. She was getting jobs and like, you know, making like 40-50 bucks a day, and that was really nice for her. And her favorite thing to do was gardening, you know, pulling weeds and working in the garden. So that's all a prelude to Susan, who I want to talk about today. So Susan saw my daughter's thing on Facebook and hired her to help with pulling weeds. And as the story goes, it was July. There was a huge downpour on the day that my daughter had been hired to come. And Susan said she came into the house absolutely drenched to the bone because she had walked over there. And Susan just said like she looked like a wet puppy. I have to go down in the shade because the sun is really baking me, which means it's going to be a fucking bitchin'. Oh, it's going to be a good beach day, man. It's going to be so good. All right, so I'm going in the shade though because I'm sweating like a pig here. So here we go. Down to the shade, so I can keep talking for a minute more. Okay, so that's what Susan said. She came in all drenched. And what happened was Susan did employ her. She did do some gardening for her, some weed pulling and whatnot. And the thing was that Susan had chronic Lyme as well, and had almost died from Lyme disease as well. And so the two of them, you know, bonded over that. And that is how Susan came into my daughter's life. And so, I'm trying to get myself adjusted here. There we go. And so, that's how their relationship started. So Susan I count as a friend, but I think she's really more my daughter's friend because of that bond that they had from the beginning. And so, you know, Susan and I met over the phone, and it was a very tentative connection for us because, you know, my daughter was talking about what a villain I was, what a horrible human being. She considered the period of her psychosis to be abusive. You know, being taken to the hospital when she was going to hurt herself because she was in psychosis and stuff like that. And it wasn't a psychiatric hospital, it was a medical hospital, okay? So she would go in, and it wasn't like, they don't have involuntary commitment in this particular country. It's a developing country, and they don't do that. So anyway, yeah, so I was a villain, an absolute villain, and she let everybody know that. So she um, had told Susan, that she hated me and this and that. So Susan and I had a very tentative relationship for a long time. But Susan is the reason my daughter is still alive right now. This woman. If Susan had not come into her life when she did, and had not stayed in her life till today, she's still here. This was 2021 and now it's 2026. And let me tell you, being in my daughter's life is a constant, high level chaos and terror every day. Like, you're on the edge of death every day with this girl. So, anyway, Susan took her at her expense, drove her all the way to New Hampshire, tried to get her in with her Lyme doctor, paid a whole bunch of money for meds, and of course my daughter took them back to her dorm room and never took them. I hired 2 seniors at the university, both health majors that were going to go into medicine. Oh, these girls. Oh my God, that's another divine thing. These women that I found just through advertising in the parent group. I hired them to come and see her twice a day to try to support her taking the medication. And oh, they stayed with her. They stayed with her. They tried so hard and she wouldn't accept it. So she wouldn't take the medication. So that's Susan, and then my daughter wouldn't take the medication and her psychiatric symptoms just exploded. And, she got kicked off the team that she had been recruited to run with. She was getting 5150'd every month. She spent 2 long hospitalizations. I consider 2 to 3 weeks long for the psych ward over the year. And at the end of the year, she got expelled because they just couldn't handle it. School couldn't handle it. It's probably illegal what they did, but I had mercy and compassion for them because I knew it was too much for them to handle. And Susan was with her, man, the whole time. With her and all that. So then my daughter came back to me at the beach in the developing country. And I'm just going to skip forward because it's just a saga that would take hours to explain. And so Susan, eventually my daughter went back. Still will not take meds, which I've already said. She will not accept Lyme or any other medication. So Susan has been there every single day for 5 years. She has rescued my daughter from death hundreds of times, daily sometimes. She has put 40 grand of her own money. I have 40 grand, but maybe I put in maybe 60% of that amount. This is like keeping her off the street when she runs away, getting her to the hospital, hiring private doctors. She was homeless for a whole year because she fucked up and ran away from her second college and had nowhere to go. And we were both just putting all our money out there to try to keep her off the street and keep her alive. And so let me tell you about Susan. Sorry, this is going a little bit long, but it's a story, it's a background story about what's going on, and it gives context. But so ode to Susan, because her birthday is this weekend. It's an appropriate time to record an ode to Susan. It takes someone with absolute nerves of steel, because she is rabidly abusive. So abusive. You know, there's never a thank you. There's never a I love you. There's never any are you okay? Like, there's never, it's always just straight full abuse and madness. You know, I think the nature of her particular mental illness is complete and total self absorption and fear, terror. She's in terror all the time. She's traumatized all the time. And so she cannot empathize. She cannot look at the other person and say, how are you? She can't do that. And so, and it's not because she's not doing it on purpose. She literally can't do it. She's completely mentally out. So, this woman, Susan, thank you for being there somehow through all the madness and all the hell. All the times your vacations have been ruined. All the times your family gatherings have been ruined. All the times you woke up at 4 a.m. to talk to her. All the time she was stranded out and, you know, running around in South Central homeless, and you sent a car to go pick her up so she wouldn't die out there. All the times you talked me through things that I didn't know how to handle. She's alive today because of you. There's no other explanation for this connection, but it's, you know, it's metaphysical, man. You came in. The void brought you two together because they knew. It knew that you were up for the task and that you'd love her. So now I'm overcome. I love you. When I get to the day when it's time for me to die, you'll be there because you've saved my girl for 5 years in a row. And there's nothing more precious or valuable to me in the world but her. And so you've saved me from dying, because if she dies, I die. And I love you. Thank you. I don't know if you're ever going to see this, but thank you.